Hey there folks, welcome to the latest tutorial for CubeSnap. As you very well know, CubeSnap solves all 3x3s of various colors, 4x4s, 2x2s, and now in the latest release, it solves the Void Cube, which is a 3x3 variant, but without a center square. In this tutorial though, I want to focus just on the 3x3s. These over here, I have separate tutorials for. So let's jump into CubeSnap. When you first open the app, it's going to tell you that most cubes will work right away. Here's a standard Rubik's Cube. You won't have any problems with this one. Also, most other cubes you buy, you won't have any problems. There are other cubes, though, that will require a little bit of tinkering to make sure that it works for you. And I want to talk about two of those reasons. Okay? All right. Reason number one would be at some point, you have taken your cube apart, removed a piece, and maybe switched it. That would be enough to leave the cube in an unsolvable state. No one would be able to solve it, not the greatest Rubik's Cube expert in the world. In that case, if you know that your cube's been assembled and put back in kind of a random fashion, what you may have to do is take it apart and put it back into a solved state to make sure that it can be solved again. Hopefully you don't have to do that. The other reason is because by default, CubeSnap assumes that you have a blue side, a yellow side, an orange, red, green, and white side. And not only that, it's that if the blue side is facing you and the yellow side is facing up, the orange side would be left, the red side would be right, the white side would be down, and the green side would be back. And so when you open this app here, you can look at this reference piece and make sure that your cube center squares follow this. Now, let's take this V cube for instance. It's a lot like the regular Rubik's Cube, but instead of white, it has black. So I put a quick link here. If you have a V cube, you can just go ahead and press this link and it'll go ahead and set the default to V cube and you won't have any problems. This cube, for instance, would be pretty simple to fix. It's pink instead of red. When you get into the app and go to settings, you would go to Cube Color Studio and set the red to a pink, and then you'd be fine. This is a little more tricky. Here we have a older style Rubik's Cube. Let's go to the blue side so we can compare. Here, the blue side is facing me, and the yellow side is facing up. However, with this one, the red side is left, where in this one it's orange. And here, the red side is right, but here the orange side is right. Also, we have problems where the bottom is not white, and the back is not green. This is an older style Rubik's Cube, but I set the newer style by default. In this case, you'd also have to go to Cube Color Studio, and I'll show you later to fix this, and it'll work just fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and get solving. Okay, this is the primary entry screen for CubeSnap. It's the camera view, and I think using the camera is the best way to enter the cube. If you get good at it, you can enter the cube in seconds, and I think it's really satisfying. So I want to show you kind of all the tricks there. However, if you do not want to enter with the camera, you still have these manual entry buttons down here. And I'll show you how to do that as well. But let's go ahead and start with the camera. Now, what's important is that you follow these instructions right here beneath the camera view. So it says to use the camera to enter the blue side with the yellow side facing up. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Let's align the cube with the grid. See how I'm doing? And then you just press the camera button. Okay, the first time you open the app, it assumes your cube will look a certain way, but it doesn't know what kind of lighting you'll have. So what you want to do is make corrections early on, and the camera will learn. Don't get frustrated too early because it'll get a lot better once you make corrections. So here, it just wanted to call the blues whites, and that's fine. We can go ahead and correct by tapping the square. And here, this will take 2 corrections, or 3. There we go. And now, when I switch sides to the orange side, the camera is now learning what a green looks like, what a white looks like, and the next time it encounters a green, it'll do much better. So let's go ahead and go to the orange side. And what that means is you're just going to turn here. And now the orange side is facing us with the yellow side facing up. So let's go ahead and take a picture. Okay, got the green that time. That looks good. Now we're going to turn it again to the green side. Green side with the yellow side facing up. That looks good. And now the red side with the yellow side facing up. So far, so good. Now the white side with the blue side facing up. All right? So just to repeat, the first four sides, you start with the blue side facing up, and you just keep turning like this along the same axis. And you'll get back to the blue side, and instead of taking a picture of the blue side again, the white is on the bottom. You just go ahead and have the white side face you, and the blue side will face up. All right? All right? So now we're going to take a picture of the yellow side, which is the top. So let's go back to the blue, this is the front, and now back to the top. I told you I'd show you how to use the manual entry buttons, and that's really simple. You just press the manual entry buttons to activate, and then type it in. So orange, red, yellow, orange, red, yellow, yellow. Now I'm going to intentionally make a mistake to kind of show you a particular feature here. Yellow, when I should have done red. And what that'll do is it'll highlight where all the yellows are so you can decide where you made a mistake. So here, just looking at the yellow side, you can see that a yellow's here, that's correct. Obviously in the middle, here, here. But oops, this yellow should be a red. So we're going to go ahead and go over here and make it a red. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and start solving. There are a few little things you can do before you start solving, and that would be, you can just tap this thing here, this little cube in the middle, and what this is telling you is what you will solve to. So this means that when you're solving, first it'll go to a solve state, and then it'll go to a yin-yang. However, let's just go ahead and have it to go to a solve state for now, and let's go ahead and start solving. All right, we're finally to the point that really matters, the solving portion. So let's just go ahead and take a look at what we have here. Once you get a little better, you have these auto turn options, which will make the cube turn at either a 5 second, 4, 3, 2.52, 1.5, or 1 second interval. I suggest not using that quite yet and to get familiar with the turns. You also have a preview cube down here, and that's what you always want to reference to once you make a turn. So even before we start, we want to make sure that we're holding the cube like it shows, and that's with, in this case, the blue side facing you and the yellow side facing up, and you should be just fine. All right, so let's go ahead and start solving. So let's go ahead and press start. All right, what that means here is we have the blue side facing us, and it wants you to turn the left side towards you just once, just one turn. So let's go ahead and do that. And now let's make sure that after the turn, our cube still looks like the one down here. It looks good. All right, let's go ahead and go to another one. Turn the front. And excellent. Looks like we're still good. Now that's the back. So this is the front, and now we're going to turn the back. It says turn the back this way. Let's go ahead and take a look. We're still good. All right, let's turn the top. Keep going. Turn the bottom. Turn the right. Here we go. Now it says to turn the left, but not once, but twice. So that means not once, but twice. And let's make sure that our cube still matches. It does. And we have one more here. And the cube is solved. Okay, if you're still watching, you probably have a funny cube and want a little more guidance. I am here to help you. All right, so quickly, let's just talk about this one with the black instead of white. So what you're going to want to do is go into Cube Color Studio, and that's easy. Pretty much everything you'll ever need for customization is going to be right here in this gear setting. And then you want to go ahead and press Cube Color Studio. And then what you have is a schematic of your center cubes. So for most, like I said, it's blue front, orange left, red right, yellow on the up, and then white on the down, then green in the back. The V Cube here, which is I think kind of a popular alternative to the regular Rubik's Cube brand, is the same, except for the down, which is black instead of white. So here I have a preset. You can either just type V Cube there, or if you prefer, you can go ahead and just select this right here, and then you can either you can change the sliders. For black would be this, or I also have a bunch of preset colors here. You can just press that too instead. So now you've set your cube to so that it has a black center square instead of a white. All right, and then you shouldn't have any problems. Now let's go ahead and go back to Cube Color Studio, because this one is a little less obvious, right? So let's go back to standard, because this looks standard, right? Okay, and let's say that you had this cube, and for some reason it just never worked. So let's go ahead and do this one. Let's enter it in. A few corrections there. Let's go ahead and get the green side, the red side. Make sure we'll get this right. Orange. Let's get the white side and the yellow side. Now, if you get an error, what's going to happen is it's going to say cube entry not valid, a little frowny face, and use top buttons for next steps. This will this little video help will send you to a tutorial specifically about errors. And then you also have the Learn More, which will send you to a web page about why your cube will not work. Now, if you are really kind of paying attention to the instructions, excuse me, you would have noticed that you cannot follow the instructions perfectly well. So for instance, it said, take a picture of the green side with yellow side facing up, but here yellow and green are opposite. So if you start seeing that you can't follow the instructions, that's a great sign that you need to go into Cube Color Studio and fix. So here I already know that this, while looking like a standard cube, is not standard, and I need to go fix in Cube Color Studio, and that will fix the problem. So next time I enter, it'll just give you that start solving screen, which everyone wants to see. So let's go ahead and go into Cube Color Studio, and let's go ahead and fix this. So let's go ahead and look at the blue side, if I can find it. Okay, so the blue side is facing me, the yellow side is facing up. However, the red is, the left is red. So let's go ahead and go back here. I have all the kind of the common ones. So let's go ahead and make that red. And then we know the right is orange. And the bottom, this is not green. It's the bottom is green, not white. And the back is white, not green. So now I have configured CubeSnap to recognize your cube, and you shouldn't have any more problems. All right, so we now made corrections in CubeSnap so that it should now recognize this, and now when we enter it, we should not get an error. We should get a start solving screen, which is what we all want. Especially me, I want you to be happy. So let's go ahead and follow the instructions with the blue side with the yellow side facing up. Let's go ahead and take a picture here. All right, sometimes when we have orangey reds and reddy oranges, then you have to make some corrections. That's just kind of the way it is, but it shouldn't be that bad. I wanted to call everything red because it all kind of looks red, right? But it's orange down there. So everything else looks good. Now let's go ahead again. We're just going to turn the cube, keeping the same axis. So we're taking a picture of the red side with the yellow side facing up. Let's see how it does. Now I wanted to call some of those red oranges. That's fine. There you go, really quickly fixed. Now it says take a picture of the white side with the yellow side facing up. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go and make that a red. Very good. Now let's go to the orange side with the yellow side facing up. Let's make that a red, not an orange. Perfect. And now the green side with the blue side facing up. Now we can follow all the instructions because we made the right corrections. All right. And now with the yellow and with the white side facing up. As you can see, for some reason, this particular CubeSnap just has some trouble with the orange and reds, but it's not that big a deal, I don't think. I just wanted to call this one orange or red. But as you can see, as you might get too many. You can go through and you can figure out where the problem was. So here, the blue side looks like we got the one red. The red side looks like we got those three reds. The white side got the red. Orange side, it got the red. Now we're down to the green. There were no reds. Very good. So it must be on this yellow side. And like I said, it's just this one right here. This is an orange where I called it a red. And then it's going to make the correction. And there we go. So I went ahead earlier, select the checkerboard. So now we're going to go to a pattern. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So let's go ahead and start. This time around, I'm going to use the auto turn. And maybe I'll be generous and just do, or I'll be safe and do the 3 seconds. Because this one doesn't turn all that well. I don't want to screw up anymore. So let's go ahead and start. I'll probably fast forward through this a little bit once I get started, but I want you to see what it looks like. All right. So when you first start, it doesn't go right away. I want you to get ready. You can go ahead and press to continue. But first, I'm going to go ahead and do what it says. Turn it twice. Looks like I'm good. And the first time it goes across, it's going to be a little slow, so you have a little extra time. All right, turn twice. Turn the back twice. All right, I want to pause it because it took me a while to turn that because this cube is really terrible. So let me just make sure. I want to go back and find the spot I was in. So you can press this back button. This doesn't take you out of this screen. It just takes you back one step. And it looks like I found my place. So I can continue. And for the next step is going to be this. Maybe I'll even go a little slower. I'll go to 5 seconds. All right, I chose 5 seconds, and now I'm going to continue. And now I'm to a solve state. So what it's going to do is it's going to first always take you to a solve state, and if you want to continue to the pattern, you can. So we're getting to the pattern. And there you go. If you want to, you can reverse the pattern, so go back to a solve state, or you can go ahead and solve a new cube. So those are pretty much all the features you'll need to solve your 3x3. Hope you found this helpful. And as I continue to add features, I will continue to update the tutorial.